Hey folks, Inclusive Model Designs here. This is part 2 of the Tamiya 1350 scale USS Missouri Circa 1991. Well, as you can see, we've got quite a bit of work done here since part 1, and we'll just get right into it here. As I said in part 1, it's a good thing to give your parts a wash in some like dishwashing soap just to get that release agent off. One thing I did notice with at least my kit, if you touch your parts, it kind of leaves fingerprints and oily bits on it. And that's just because of the release agent, and you don't want to spray your parts with primer and paint when that oil's still on it, because the paint just won't stick right and might make a messier model. So definitely give that a good wash prior to painting, and that's exactly what I did. But I did notice right after priming my model, at least, I almost primed away my waterline line. There was actually a dummy line, for lack of better words, of where your water line is, and it's not because I added too much primer or nothing, but that line is so thin that as soon as I added primer on it, it almost completely eliminated my line. Where the black line is there's actually a line there, and it's almost like where you would basically put your tape, right? That's where you would put your tape. And right after priming it, it almost made that line completely invisible. And normally when I like to do my hull painting, I basically want to start from the bottom and work my way up. But this time, because of that line almost being completely eliminated because of my primer, the first thing I did was masked off my water line. And man, that took hours, because I had to sit there and basically have my light shining on, like, basically right here, and taped it. And then I had to move along slowly. So hours and hours and hours of, taping, inch by inch by inch. I did get it, for the most part, I think. I mean, I did get it straight. But man, that took hours and hours and hours. So that's the first thing I masked after painting. And then I painted the top part with haze gray. And then I masked off that. And then I painted the bottom hull with the dull red. And then I masked that. And then I finally took off the masking for the water line. And then I painted it with the flat black. And then I sprayed it, and then I hoped I masked off, that and that correctly as I sprayed the black, and then I prayed that I didn't have any paint leaks and stuff like that. That's why I like to paint it, in sections. And I was hoping I didn't have any paint leaks or anything like that, because then obviously, sometimes with black, you'd have paint leaks and things like that. And, thank God that I didn't. And then I ended up getting the result I wanted. Right? I'll show you the other side here. I have to flip this around. That's why I like to work, from the bottom up. And luckily, I got the result I wanted. So, something to keep in mind if you are, working with your waterline and stuff, the primer might delete it. Or maybe, if you can get away with it, don't use primer. I don't know. I don't want to say it. But anyway, it did turn out for me. It took a lot of work. So, and then after it was all said and done, I used my semi-gloss right there. So all those right there were used on the hull. So, wow. So that's a good day right there worth of work just on the hull. So it turned out fairly well. Sorry for the lighting here. This thing's huge too. I'm just trying to get it all into picture. And then of course the stand, right? That's just like the screw and stand. Now I will put glue here just to make sure that I don't get any more slips, or I shouldn't say any more slips. I haven't had any slips. But I won't do that until I'm absolutely sure this thing's going to stay on the stand forever, just in case I have to do any more like spraying or touch-ups or anything like that. But until I know for sure that this thing isn't going to get off the stand anymore, I mean, that's not going to move anywhere. That's sitting through the nut, but just for some added security, right? So moving on to the decals, you do have options right there. You can have the gray ones there. That is for when it's actually was in the Persian Gulf, like when it was on station. Actually, I had a good conversation with West Coast model battleships there. He's got a channel, he does battleships and stuff. He told me that when they're on station, they use the gray for low visibility. Thank you for that. But any other time, they use the whites, which I like. So I put the whites on. And then, of course, you got the water line right there for the depths. And then we'll move over to the stern. And then you got the Missouri on the back. Sorry for the lighting there, guys. It's really hard to move around this thing. Right there. And then, of course, in the front, right there, right where that 3 is, is, you know, I actually had a splatter from the clear coat. It actually splattered, like a little splatter came out just before the decal. Little, like, you know, when you spray, it kind of went like that, and luckily it actually hit where the decal was going to go, so it covered it up. So if it had to go anywhere, it went there. So next is going to be going on, is going to go on the props, right? And then the anchors are going to go on. And then we're going to start working on the deck and the superstructure. Now, I kind of like how this is working out for me, just because we are kind of moving around the instructions a little bit. And I'm kind of liking how I'm doing this, because it's actually making it a lot easier to work with the decals, the anchors, and the screws now, because I'm able to move the ship around and all the rest of it without, you know, knocking stuff off the superstructure or the deck and stuff. So if you actually work with the ship now, you know, with the screws and then the anchors and the decals and the painting of the hull and all the rest of it now, it's going to make life a lot more simple later. You try moving the ship around when you have all this stuff built on. You know, do the steps now. At least if you are following along with me and the build, I'd say do the steps now, because at least now you have the ability to grab the ship and move it all around, and, you know, without, you know, wrecking other parts of your ship. You know, especially with the propeller blades and stuff. Try putting the propeller blades on when you have all that stuff on the ship. Yeah, right. So that'd be the next thing to go on. We're going to get the screws on the ship and the anchors on. And then we're going to start putting the deck on. And then we're going to build her up. So that's pretty much it, I would say, for part 2. Just right now is the options of the decals, which ones you want. You want to put the gray ones on. I'm probably going to give this another blast of clear coat, just to make sure the decals seal on nice. But it looks like they're on there quite nicely. But we'll give them another good seal. And I guess that's pretty much it. Just wanted to give you a warning about that water line. Unless your model has a nice, you know, thicker one, but mine sure didn't. And I didn't do much sanding at all. Actually, all my sanding was on the bottom. I didn't need to do any sanding on the side. So there we go. There's part 2. Hopefully that made sense, and hopefully I didn't ramble too much. There's another look at the colors that I used anyway for the ship. Those are the ones that they did indicate to use on the sheet there itself. There they go, TS33, TS33, TS6, TS6. Yep, it's all there. So there we go, guys. So thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for some more videos coming on this ship and some other ships coming up. So thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.